Okay, I'm live. Are you live?
I'm good.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for our Week 8 recap. 8 weeks in, a little over halfway now, I think, based on what we talked about last week. Um, so we'll jump in here. High score this week, I think, was actually me, in what was probably like one of the lowest high scoring weeks of the season. 152 points all it took to get that. So interestingly enough, we've done this high score thing now for a season and a half. This is the first time I've gotten the high score. So and it was with a whopping 152 points, which is really nothing. So I'll take it though. Had to happen eventually. Looking at standings real quick, Shannon is still absolutely crushing everybody else in the league. She is out in front in terms of points scored by about 130 right now. I think Ashley is still in second in terms of points at 1192, and Shannon's at 1320. There's a bunch of us though. We're all kind of in the same range. You're looks like third at 1170. Melissa's a point behind you at 1169, and then I'm about 13 points behind her at 1156. So it's very close still. Um, much like last week, if the season ended right now, the top six would make the playoffs in the standings. So nobody outside the top six right now has the most points scored. Um, Jimmy's not far off, but he's had three really bad weeks that took him from being like top two scorer to now being number seven. So his team's starting to struggle a little. Actually, no, I think he's less. Justin has more points than him, so he's
No,
falling. I was looking at
Justin.
points against. Sorry, I was looking at the points against column.
Justin's like
Yeah, okay. So
50,
Justin's like
40.
he's like 30 some points down there, 40. Um, so anyways, you know, catching up though. So okay, let's jump into our matchups here. Trade deadline has passed for the NFL, so not the fantasy trade deadline. The fantasy trade deadline. Let me scroll down here because I was just looking at this. The fantasy trade deadline is, I believe, December 4th. So we still have like over a month of trading possible for anybody that wants to do so. Actually, we made a couple trades this week. JT and I made a trade, which I'll talk about later. And then I actually traded with Scott too. Papa Carl's here um, on what was a pretty middling trade. It was just kind of tossing around some bench players. Um, we basically swapped Ernest Johnson. I took Miles Sanders from him. Um, Ernest Johnson being kind of a handcuff for his Nick Chubb. And then he gave me back Ryan Tannehill, who I had dropped previously. So it was kind of a big nothing in terms of actual production. But anyways, okay, let's jump into the matchups here. Let's talk about Ashley and Henry first. So Ashley won this matchup 132 to 111. Tom Brady, another 4 touchdown game here. Just out of curiosity, so he has had, here's his touchdown stats for the season in terms of games, right? So 8 games played, 4 touchdowns week one, then five, then one, then zero, then five, then two, then four, then four. So, this man's already thrown like close to 30 touchdowns 8 weeks in, which is pretty remarkable. 25. He's thrown 25. It tells me up there. So that's
Yep.
pretty damn good. If a quarterback throws 30 touchdowns a whole season, you're usually pretty happy with that. And he's thrown 25 in eight
He's
weeks.
on pace for over 50.
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so which would be pretty crazy. So Tom Brady continues to kill it. Rest for lineup kind of disappointing this week, kind of just down the board. I mean, her second highest scoring player was Brandon Cooks, like Texans receiver. Like
yeah,
when she's got Kamara and James Robinson who got hurt and DJ Moore and DeAndre Hopkins, you don't expect Brandon Cooks to be your second highest scorer. So
nope.
kind of disappointing, but she had enough output there to pull out the W. Henry Ruggs on her bench there. I think he can probably be dropped. What do you think?
I say so.
Yeah, he's probably done, maybe forever. Probably rightfully so. He is a dumbass. So, Hingle McCringleberry here. Let's talk about Henry's team real quick. Chris Godwin, great game from him. Um, yeah, Joe Burrow has been really solid lately too. We had three touchdowns
Yeah.
in this game. He's been really good. It's just a high passing volume offense, so gotta love that. Rest of his team, hit a lot of single digit guys there. Gainwell did virtually nothing. Everybody thought he was going to be the starter, and then he pretty much was like the third guy on the depth chart there. Jerry Judy, first week back, kind of low expectations there. So Henry's team continues to struggle here. He's got a ton of injuries. That hasn't changed from the last week. He had a ton of injuries. They're still the same. Christian McCaffrey's still out. maybe for a week, maybe for 2 weeks, maybe for who knows how long. Have they had their bye? The Panthers? Do you know?
No, they have not had their bye. Their bye is week 13.
Okay, so he'll definitely be back before that, I'm sure, unless there's some sort of other setback. But you know, we'll see. I think we can move on to the next matchup, unless you have anything else to add
Nope.
here. Okay. So that for me is Justin and you. Let's talk about your game. You beat Justin here by about 33 points. So why don't you go through your lineup here?
Just Cooper Cup doing his thing. A disgusting floor. I mean, what's his floor like? 25 points?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like that's insane
Yeah.
for like third or fourth round pick. Fourth round,
Hmm?
crazy. And
He's
then AJ
wide
Brown.
receiver one right now in the
Yeah.
season.
And then AJ Brown, 40-point game. He hit the 155 yards.
Yeah.
We actually watched that when that happened, so that was
Hmm.
really fun. And that was really it.
Yeah, those two guys right
My
there.
opinion.
I mean, the two you just named are, you know, AJ Brown had a slow start to the season, but now, especially with Derrick Henry being injured, they're gonna have to lean on him even more. So I expect more of these big blow up games from him.
Yeah,
Cooper Cup has 10 touchdowns on the season. He scored in all but 2 weeks. Um,
it's
so
insane.
that offense is just so good. Like the Rams' offense has been pretty good for a few years now.
You put in an actual quarterback who can
Yeah,
throw the ball.
exactly. So like it was pretty good with Jared Goff. Now it's really good with Matthew Stafford. So basically, I don't expect Cooper Cup to slow down for any reason. I think he's going to keep going. So yeah, rest of your lineup, pretty solid. McLaurin kind of disappointed, but eh. There
Bad
was
quarterback
there was
play.
exactly there was trade talks about possibly Trubisky going to the Washington. Did you see that? Obviously, it didn't happen,
Mm-mm,
so it's not really worth talking about. But just
I
one of
did
the many
not.
many rumors that was floated around out there. Looking
Which,
at Justin's team, yeah, that would have been an upgrade. It's sad when Mitch Trubisky is an upgrade to who you have at
yeah,
quarterback, but he absolutely would have been. Um, much like Ryan Fitzpatrick was an upgrade to who they had. So yeah, Justin's team here again. Nobody really worth talking about. Aaron Jones had a pretty good game. Gronk goosed him after getting hurt. Uh, Different injury, right? It wasn't a re. It was like a back
back to
thing, back
spasm.
spasms. Yeah. He got two gooses in this game. Emmanuel Sanders
Yep.
inexplicably, and Gronk 0 points from both. Hard to win when you have two players do that to you. And then when you have your guys that you really rely on, like Diggs and Evans, and they give you 12 and 15 points, um,
Yep.
very difficult to come back from that. So just a bad week all around for Justin. Still think he has a pretty good team. See if there's anybody on your guys' benches here worth talking about. Not really, no. So you had Boston Scott on your bench who had 2 touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns for the Eagles in this game. Pretty wild. Two
Yep.
for Boston Scott, two for Jordan Howard, the ghost of Jordan Howard who appeared to siphon
Back on the
those.
Eagles.
Yeah, right. Um, yeah, wild, wild, wild,
I, w-
wild.
I wonder what that's like. Where you were on a team like he was on the Eagles like what 2 years ago, last year, something like that.
Mm,
Gets traded or cut, whatever, and then he's like back. So I wonder
yeah.
like what the atmosphere is like in the locker room. It's like, hey guys, I'm back.
Yeah.
Like, oh
Well,
look,
'cause
that's
it's a
what
new coaching staff, right? Since
that
he
too.
was
Yeah.
there, so it might be a little less weird. Um, but yeah, I think the Eagles had like 160, 70, 90 some rushing yards in this game, like combined between the three running backs and Jalen Hurts or whatever. Which
Hurts had
is
like 70 of it.
yeah, so ton of rushing yards in this game. It's just funny because like Miles Sanders never had more than like 30, so
Yeah.
the like first week he's out, they're like, okay, let's run the ball. Um, Okay, well, let's move on. You got the dub this week. I guess actually, I want to go back real quick. We kind of glossed over this before we go on to the next match. I want to look at the standings here. I know we talked about the points scored, but Shannon's got the commanding lead. You're in second here. You and I are the only team 6-2. We're having pretty good luck. You're on a 5-game winning streak. The only streak longer than that is Shannon, who's won 6 in a row. Actually, the only streak longer than that is Chris, who's lost 8 in a row. So uh,
Yeah.
congrats to Chris for keeping that streak going, I guess. He's having a terrible time. He hasn't even broke 100, 800 points. Like he's at basically 800. Shannon scored more than 500 points more than him over the course of
Hmm.
8 games. Like that's wild.
Yeah.
It's Ashley and Melissa at 5-3. James and Scott at 4-4. Justin, Henry, Kate at 3-5. JT got his second win this week.
There you
to make it
go.
2-6, and then Chris again is just really struggling. So it seems like the playoff contenders are definitely starting to separate themselves. You know, Jimmy was really strong for a while, and we'll talk about his game here shortly. Um, but he started to fall off. I think Kate had like a 2 game streak to start. I think she went 2-0 to begin the season, and she's fallen off. So it's just kind of again, sort of the crowd's starting to separate a little bit at this point, right? So, anyways, okay, let's jump into our next matchup, which I have as JT and Jimmy. So speaking of here, JT outscored Jimmy almost 2-1 here. Again, James had back-to-back high scores. I think weeks 2 and 3, and
Hmm?
now 3 weeks in a row. I'm pretty sure he's put up less than 100 points. So he went from like on fire, absolutely on fire. Justin Jefferson was killing it. Mike Williams was killing it. Derrick Henry was killing it. Jalen Hurts and or Lamar was killing it. Um, who else does he have on his bench? Who was he playing in
Waller
those
week
early weeks? Yeah,
one.
Waller week 1. Like his team came out on freaking fire, and it's just dried up. You know, like Jalen Hurts had a
Injuries.
bad week. This was Jalen Hurts' worst week. I think he was quarterback 2 coming into this week, which is pretty good, right? Considering he's been
Yeah.
really bad as an NFL quarterback. But he's just been so consistent for fantasy. A lot of garbage time points for him. So this was his first bad week, which ironically enough came in a week in which the Eagles scored 44 points. Jalen Hurts had his worst week. And
Yep.
again, that's what happens when he had no passing touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns, and that's because Boston Scott and Jordan Howard took 4 of the touchdowns here. So doesn't help him. Justin Jefferson, really terrible game here against Dallas. You would have expected better, but I guess the primetime Kirk Cousins curse is real and continues. So,
Always.
yep. Mike Williams here, he's been disappointing these past couple weeks too. He had a hot start. He's kind of fallen off.
Their
Um,
offense just looked really bad.
yeah, yeah. Part of it's maybe Justin Herbert. Not really sure what's going on there, but overall, it's not going well for the Chargers. And certainly not for unless you're Austin Eckler. He's kind of been the only one serviceable, right? Keenan Allen's been okay, and Austin Eckler, and that's pretty much it. Derrick Henry. Okay, so this was a big one. So Derrick Henry is out for basically the rest of the fantasy season, is my understanding. I think the timeline was 6 to 10 weeks, but realistically, probably about 8 weeks. So you fast forward 8 weeks from now, and you're looking at what, week 16, week 17. Well, the fantasy playoffs are 15, 16, and 17 for us. So best case scenario, you probably get Derrick Henry back week 17. So
And do you still start him?
exactly, that's the question. Do you start him? I mean, probably if they are going to start him, then they will probably feel he is ready. At that point, if he's fully
Yeah.
recovered, then he's probably back to himself. But so I think the answer to that question, I think I would start him. Unless they came out and said, like, okay, look, game 1, he's going to be on a snap count. We're going to take it easy. Then I might temper expectations. Although that's one of those trap situations where as soon as they say that, he comes out and he just dominates. So that's a tough situation, but that's a discussion for literally 8 weeks from now. And the question is, what do you do? James isn't going to drop Derrick Henry. Let's be honest. James is not going to do that.
I wouldn't.
So yeah, I probably wouldn't either. But realistically, you're going to get him for one game, and that is the championship game. So you have to make it to the championship carrying the corpse of Derrick Henry on your bench to be able to play him in that championship game if he comes back. Because if it's a 9 week thing, like let's say that the Titans make it, talking about real football here. Let's say the Titans make the playoffs, right? Which currently they are in the lead in that division in the AFC South. If they're in the lead, they've comfortably got it locked up, come week 17. And Derrick Henry's like, well, maybe we need to give him one more week. They might just sit him if they've made it that far and give him that time and rest him for the playoffs, which are, impending at that point. So, you could carry him the rest of the way and he never play again for fantasy in the season. So it's a risk. I mean, look, he's got Odell, who's basically droppable. He's got Khalif Raymond, which is far more droppable. He's got an IR slot who's open. So boom, stick Derrick Henry in the IR slot. So I guess that answers the question right there. Um, Actually, though, James sustained 2 season-ending injuries here to his players. Robert Tonyan also done for the season with a torn ACL, I think. I think it was torn
Yeah,
ACL. Yeah.
but he's garbage anyway.
Yeah. It's not like that's not the caliber of loss that Derrick Henry was, but
Yeah.
somebody else that he can drop because he's not coming back. T.Y. Hilton got hurt. I'm not sure what you do with T.Y. Hilton. I don't think he's even rosterable at this point, honestly. Um, Melvin Gordon salvaged his day, 2 touchdowns. That benefited us in our other league. Khalil Herbert touched the ball like 23 times, but finished with a whopping 8 points, 9 points. So
Yeah.
disappointing there. San Fran's got a pretty good defense still. So, anyways, all right, let's stop bragging on Jimmy's team here, who is falling apart. Let's talk about JT's team. JT had a great week here. Um, so, JT, I told you about this. We had a trade back on Thursday, I think. I gave him Lockett, I gave him Lamb, and I gave him Gibson, all three of which he played this week. He gave me Darrell Henderson and Calvin Ridley, and Calvin Ridley proceeded to basically retire from football shortly after that trade. So that was good. And Lockett and Lamb had great games for JT, which is good. I don't like giving people landmines in a trade. I want them to work out. So Gibson did what, Gibson, I this was part of the reason I wanted to make the trade is because I was worried about Gibson. Um, and, I just think that they brought in Jarrett Patterson a lot in this game. JD McKissick's there. It's just a big timeshare, and it's a bad offense, and I'm just happy to be off that train, I guess. It sucks not having Calvin Ridley, but it's really good having Darrell Henderson. But otherwise, Lockett had a great game. First game, he's had 5 really, really poor weeks prior to this. First 2 weeks strong, 5 weeks of mediocrity, and then boom, comes back with a 29-point game. So that was nice to see, Geno Smith and Lockett connecting. And Russell Wilson will probably be back in another 2 weeks or so. So, Lockett will be back to strength. CeeDee Lamb had a good game here, 20 points, even though it was low scoring. Love to see that. So, actually, I'm kind of surprised Zeke had a bad day. I thought it would be more of a run game type day with, Cooper Rush out there at quarterback. But Zeke, had a real weak finish here. He only had, let's see if it tells me. He had 16 carries just for 50 yards, so not super efficient, but I guess you can credit that to the Vikings defense there. Okay, looking at the benches here, really nobody worth talking about down there. I think we can move on from this game unless you have anything else to add.
Nope.
Okay, let's talk about Melissa and Scott here. MF's Mother Tuckers and Scott's Eagles. So Scott is a Ravens fan. His team's name is Scott's Eagles, and his profile picture is of a crab. So basically the whole zoo going on over there.
Yep.
So Melissa, Kyler Murray had a poor day. He got banged up in this game. Ankle injury? Yeah. Which is
So
disappointing.
that was the last play of the game.
Yeah, which sucks. And apparently they're talking about he might miss a little bit of time. I don't know. It probably won't be much. I don't think they're too concerned, but he could miss a week or two. I'm not sure when their bye is. Their bye is
I
not
hope
till week
so.
12. So, why do you play her this week?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, she has who does she have as her
Matt
Matt
Ryan.
Ryan. Okay, and they play. They play the Saints, and they have no Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
Woo! Yeah, she's gonna be struggling at quarterback this week. There's some streaming options out there though, so it shouldn't be a big
You
deal.
saw that Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, for the Saints.
I hope he does.
I heard I thought Sean Payton came out and said we're good with who we have,
I hope
which
not.
could just be coach speak, but
Hate Taysom Hill.
yeah, he could be the
He's
guy.
not a quarterback. He's literally
No.
freaking IRO flex play
Yes.
where he does everything.
Yes, but he's actually pretty good for fantasy. When he started last year,
Because you could play him in tight end, right?
Yeah, there was like 1 week where he still had that designation as tight end quarterback. That may have been an ESPN thing, actually. I'm not sure if they ever. I think they fixed that pretty quick in Yahoo.
Yeah, they
but
did. He's a QB now.
ESPN's always like slow to make those changes. Like for example, Adrian Peterson got signed by the Titans the other day, and in ESPN, Adrian Peterson was listed as a free agent. So as soon as that happened, people could go pick him up because he was owned by no team. In Yahoo, he was still listed as being attached to the Lions because that's the last team he played for. So you couldn't go pick him up. He was considered on waivers like all the Lions players were. Okay, so anyways, talking about Melissa's team here. So she lost by 16 points, 17 points here. So unfortunate for her. Tyreek Hill had a pretty good game. I watched a little bit of that game last night. Chiefs did not look good. They just don't. They don't look good this season. I don't know what it is because
I think they're trying too hard to like be flashy and all that. I
maybe
think they just need to
yeah
play football.
because like outside of losing Clyde, who I don't necessarily think was like a big loss
He
to the
wasn't that
team.
good.
Yeah, it's not like the equivalent of the Ravens losing J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, right? Losing Clyde to them is not a big deal. But other than that, they upgraded their offensive line, on paper, and they've got Tyreek and they've got Kels and they have the same weapons. Only they lost Sammy Watkins. Who cares? Like Sammy
Yeah.
Watkins was nothing to them. So I don't see why they've regressed as much as they have. But I think Mahomes has the most turnovers. The Chiefs have probably the most turnovers. Like it just it's weird. Their defense isn't good. It's just I mean they almost got beat by the Giants in this game. They probably should have gotten beat by the Giants in this game. So just to kind of do the old barometer of where they're at. That's where it is. Rest of our team, Najee Harris has been really solid. He had a good game here. Cole Beasley, this was his game, not Emmanuel Sanders' game. It was Cole Beasley's. Looking at Scott's team here, Josh Allen continues to be, I'm surprised he's actually not. I think because he had the bye already, he's not QB1 as a result. I think if he hadn't had the bye, he would be in first place as far as quarterback scoring goes because he's been really good all season. Uh,
Yeah.
his low scoring game was week 1 where he put up 19 points. Other than that, he's had games of 48, 45, 38, 33. Like it's just
Such
so
a big
good.
floor.
Yeah, phenomenal floor. DK Metcalf, another touchdown, 2 touchdowns in this game. Thielen touchdown, good play there. Elijah Mitchell's been really good too. That's
Yeah.
turned out to be a really good pickup. Um, Seemingly out of nowhere. There's always at least every year. There's always one running back on the waiver wires that becomes a league winner, and Elijah Mitchell's kind of that guy. It seems like because he's
He
just the
got him for
guy there.
17 fab, which is so cheap.
Yeah, I mean that's a steal honestly for a guy like that. I mean he outscored Nick Chubb, right? Like Nick Chubb also, with no Kareem Hunt here. I know they could probably they still rushed him 16 times. I mean that was not his
I
lowest
think
carry
he's
count.
good.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He just, every once in a while Nick Chubb disappears, and that's because he doesn't get any targets. So
Yeah.
when you're not involved in the passing game, you got to get a bunch of yards and you got to get a touchdown in order to be fantasy relevant. And he did not do either in this game. So,
Yep.
nobody else really there on his lineup worth talking about. Tyler Boyd had a nice game on his bench there. Um, Tyler Boyd, who I just gave him in a trade, but I don't care about Tyler Boyd. So, all right, next game here looks like it is Shannon and Chris. This was the husband-wife match here. Um, Chris actually had this was probably one of his highest scoring games in a while here. He
Yeah.
had almost 100 points, despite a goose from Robbie Anderson. But let's talk about Shannon's team real quick here. Kirk Cousins, okay, that was her sub in for Dak, who was out for the week with what was
Calf.
Dak's injury? Yeah, calf injury. That's right. Debo continues to shred it up. He's got to be probably right behind Cooper Kupp in terms of fantasy points for the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
170 yards in this game, like that's crazy. I think half of that came on a single play. Eckler, it's been really good. Looking at Chris's team, Mahomes, we just kind of talked about a little bit. He's just not been good. I mean, looking at his past 2 weeks here, if I can pull up the game log, he put up 9 points last week, 17 points this week. Um, he's still the number 4 quarterback on the season, so he started out pretty strong through week 6. So I'm still not overly concerned about him. I think they'll figure out whatever's going on there, but just kind of sucks. Mixon, good game from him to be expected against the Jets, even though they lost in that game somehow. Um, Weirdly enough, J.D. McKissick has become a great play with Gibson being banged up and kind of not being the guy. Also, with them seemingly always down, McKissick's going to get a ton of work.
Yep.
So that's a good play right there. Randall Cobb pick up 2 touchdowns from Randall Cobb in the absence of basically every other receiver for the Packers. So that was a good pickup at Chris there. And nobody else really worth talking about, I don't think, here.
Nope.
He probably still needs to do a little bit of cleanup of his bench, I would say. Marlon Mack can probably go now that he wasn't traded. I don't think he's worth stashing anymore. But okay, I think my game's the last game here. I played Kate. Beat her by about 50 points here. I had a real strong start to this game. I think we were texting a little bit on Sunday. Like, I didn't have anybody play Thursday, so everybody I had played on Sunday, um, except for Sterling Shepard last night. And about 10 minutes into the 1 o'clock games on Sunday, I checked my phone and I had about 55 points already. Because I just had like three people had scored touchdowns and a bunch of big plays, and so a lot of my guys just had really solid weeks. Michael Pittman's tearing it up for me. Daryl Henderson in his first week with me, 22 points. Not upset about that. Two touchdowns there. Um, he's been pretty good. Running back on one of the best offenses in the league. You can't hate that. Um, let's see here. Swift had a bad week. I have some quarterback cleanup to do. We talked about that. Calvin Ridley kind of disappearing for an unknown length of time sort of sucks. I don't really know what to do with that. I kind of want to trade him, but he's not worth anything. So I think I just have to sit on him. What do you think? Because you own Calvin Ridley in the other
Yeah,
league.
no one's gonna unless it's cheap, but it's like you're not. It's a second round pick. It's not. You're
Yeah,
not giving away for dirt. So
I've considered pairing him. This is one of those situations where if you're going to trade him, you don't do it one for one. You attach him to like somebody else. Like I've considered maybe throwing Ridley with Carter, um, for like a wide receiver, maybe upgrade, maybe if somebody wants to buy in on Ridley coming back, because he might. That's the thing. It's so weird.
I think he will.
I think so too, because like we still don't know. I know the rumors it's a marriage problem, um, but we just don't know the extent of it. He could be back in like
2 weeks.
2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Maybe he doesn't come back this season. Maybe he never comes back to football. Like we truly don't know. But whatever it is, my assumption is he does come back. Now the other
I
thing too I
will.
heard the other day is he is on a this is a contract year for him, right? Like he's playing for the big
Big
contract because this
money.
is his fourth year. So he to basically step away in such a pivotal point. I mean, it shows that whatever's going on is serious enough that he feels he needs to do that. But he's sacrificing the ability to basically secure that massive contract for next year. So, you have to assume that whatever he's doing, he hopes to get worked out soon. Comes back, plays better than he was playing. He needs to do that too. Um, but what were you going to say?
I just expect him to be back in 2 3 weeks. I don't think it's gonna
Yeah,
be anything long term.
that's my hope too. And they've had the bye, so when he does come back, there will be no more missed weeks. Hopefully. So
Yeah,
okay, looking at Kate's team here, she broke 100 this week. I think it had been a couple weeks for her since she did. Mark Cooper had a good game there. I think he had the game-winning touchdown. I heard.
he did. Yep.
I heard something. It was interesting. So apparently, C.D. Lamb and Amari Cooper had like a debate about who should get the opportunity to score the game-winning touchdown, and it was like this whole thing where like both of them wanted the opportunity to do it, and Amari like went up to CD and was like, "Hey, do you want to be the one to do it?" And CD's like, "Yeah," and Amari's like, "Well, I want to do it too." And so like they just decided. I don't know how they figured that out, but like it's just so weird. But anyways, it worked. They won the game. Amari Cooper got his big play there. Devontae Booker, pretty good for her. I just want to for let's see now the come on the one two three four fifth week in a row. I'm just going to victory lap that Devin Singletary has scored single digit points. Um, it baffled me. It truly baffled me when for the first 2 weeks he had 11 and 17 points. I blew my mind. I was like, that's insane for him. So 5 weeks in a row he scored single digits, which is exactly what I expected out of Devin Singletary. Um, Travis Kelce. Oh man, how about this? When do you think Travis Kelce last scored 5 points? When do you think that was?
Rookie.
Yeah, probably his rookie year, which was probably what like a decade ago. This man's like 32, so I don't even remember. I don't remember Travis Kelce being a thing before like 4 or 5 years ago. Like, what was this
Yeah,
man doing
probably
the first
5.
5 years? Like, I don't know. Maybe he was relevant then. I just never paid attention. But yeah, it definitely feels like it's been the last 5 years or so that he's kind of been dominating. But yeah, I mean, he scored 6 points week four, 4 points this week. I mean, that's great. He still had 7 targets in this game, just four catches for 27 yards. So that's just chalk it up to the whole Chiefs offense just not firing on all cylinders. So you assume they'll get it corrected. But just weird, weird, weird. Kate's team remains banged up. She's got Barkley, Galladay both out. They might remain out this week. Giants have a bye, I think, week 10. Yeah. Okay. So the Giants have a bye coming up week 10 here. Um, you got to think if Barkley and Galladay, we kind of talked about this last week, if they're not close, or if they're kind of close to coming back, but maybe need a little bit more time, you could see a world where they don't get played this week so that they can have this week and week 10 to rest and then come back week 11 after the bye. So I see a world where that happens, which means Kate has to go and operate with Singletary as her RB1 for another week or two. Devontae Booker was a good fill-in, but anyways, okay, let's move on. Let's talk about next week's matchups here. Let's see. We'll just start at the top. We'll do my matchup here.
Ooh, you and Ashley.
Yeah, the other husband-wife battle here. And my team's kind of a hot mess this week too. I actually don't have. I've got some major
Ooh.
waiver wire plays to do this week because obviously I don't have Calvin Ridley because he's gone. I don't have
Tight
DeAndre
end.
Swift. I don't have a tight end. So like I don't even have. I'm guessing Sterling Shepard's not going to play because he was already banged up, and then he came into this game and had a quad injury. So I don't think I can count on him. So this week's going to be a struggle for me. I'm rocking a lot of people that are currently hurt or out.
Well, at least you can drop Watson because he's not going to play
Yeah,
this week.
yeah, I'm gonna. No, I got people I can drop. I got quarterbacks out the wazoo I can drop. So I'll be doing some cleanup there. I've got some spots, but there's not a lot out on the waiver wire. So it's definitely going to be a down week for me, unless I can make a trade happen between now and then, which we will see. Ashley's team, she has not picked up a quarterback herself yet. She can get rid of Henry Ruggs. We talked about briefly. He's gone. Just looking at the matchups here, some of my guys, the guys I'm playing, do have some pretty good matchups. Jonathan Taylor against the Jets. If he doesn't get 25 plus points, I'll probably be super disappointed in Jonathan Taylor. Deontay against Chicago. Like my guys are okay. Tannehill against the Rams. I don't know. I don't really. They're okay. Meanwhile, on her side, same thing. She's got some tough matchups.
Yeah, she's got tough too.
So I don't know. Depending on who she can get at quarterback, some moves she makes, it could be close this week. So I don't really know. I'll give it to her. I'll pick her to win just because I think my team's struggling
I'm
this
still
week.
leaning towards yours.
Yeah, I
we
think
don't
so.
know if Robinson plays, so that could
Yeah,
be
that's true.
another-
That's true. That's a point to my advantage there. Is Kittle coming back this week or is that next week?
He's supposed to practice this week, but we
Okay.
don't know if he's.
So probably next week then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's not going to get Kittle back probably against me, but maybe next week for her. So yeah, we'll see. I'll give it a 50-50. Maybe I'll lean me just because I think Jonathan Taylor should hopefully. He's got to carry my team this week. If Jonathan Taylor has a bad week, I lose. There's no question about it. I just don't have the, Darrell Henderson against the Titans, I guess too, is a pretty strong play. But otherwise, I'm really relying on those two guys. All right, let's talk about our next matchup here, which is
So
Justin and Kate. Yeah. Duplicate this tab. Okay. As soon as it loads here. Come on. All right. Okay. Well, we know that, like we just talked about, Kate's gonna lose, right? I mean, with assuming that Galladay and Barkley are out, she just doesn't really have a shot with who she has. I do like the Derek Carr play against the Giants. I think that's good. Travis Kelce hopefully has a bounce back. Devontae Booker's been pretty good. His projections are currently not accurate because they still assume Barkley's going to play, but you figure Booker against Vegas can probably get 15 plus points, so that shouldn't be a big deal. Singletary against Jacksonville. Okay, this is the test. If Devin Singletary can get double-digit points this week, then I will take back. No, I won't take back anything. I still think he's garbage.
Don't.
Yeah,
take it
no,
back.
I'm not going to take it back. If he can't get double-digit points against Jacksonville,
There you go.
I will just berate him even further. So, no changes there. I like Justin's gonna get this right. I mean, no question about it. He's just got
Yeah.
Aaron Jones and Devontae Parker's been good against. He's got a Houston matchup, Diggs against Jacksonville, Aaron
Rodgers,
Rodgers against
KC.
Kansas City. Like all of these matchups are phenomenal. Gesicki against Houston. Darrell Williams has been pretty good. He's been used in the passing game a lot. So
Did you see that they have a player called named Derek Gore?
yeah,
And so when I thought that was Frank Gore
mm,
on when they first started, I'm
yeah, me
like,
too.
what is this old bum doing on the field?
Yeah, they even had to clarify that no relation to Frank Gore. Um, I'm
I
surprised nobody's
was
picked up Frank Gore this season. I guess maybe he's
is he
finally
on the
done.
team?
No, I don't think so. That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised nobody's picked him up. I mean, sorry, meant like an NFL team hasn't picked up Frank Gore. Like
Yes,
Adrian
I said
Peterson got picked up. Why not Frank Gore? Um, but anyways, okay, yeah. Give this one to Justin. I think he's pretty much
yeah.
got this one locked up. Don't need to spend a whole lot of time on that one. I don't think. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Henry and Shannon. So Shannon's been on fire. Obviously, first instinct is to just say, okay, she gets it. Um, she's going to have probably Dak back this week. Yeah, Dak should be back. Devontae Adams, I think he's still on the COVID list as of
Yeah.
yesterday, I think, or maybe today still. Um,
He's supposed to practice, I think, Thursday,
yeah,
hopefully.
you're right. So I expect him back this week. So she'll have Devontae Adams against Kansas City. She'll have Dak Prescott back. She'll have Mark Andrews back. I mean, Eckler's there in her lineup. She's Fournette's on the bye. Okay, whatever. She'll sub in, even if she has to sub in a turd. Like the rest of her team, Debo's there.
Oh, that's
She'll be
true.
fine. I'm not. Shannon's going to take this matchup against Henry. Um, Henry currently. Let's see, who's Henry's RB2? So he started Kenneth Gainwell last week, which did not pay off for him. And then currently, if Latavius Murray is set to come back this week, maybe he can play Latavius Murray as his RB2. Yeah, I don't think we need to spend a lot of time on this game either. I think Shannon's going to take it. So let's move
Yeah.
on to the next game. Looks like that is the JT and Scott. Yes, I believe.
Mhm.
Come on. There we go. All right. So let's see. I like to look at who has a bye first. So
Yeah.
Fant's currently out with COVID, but he could play, right? Do we know if he's vaccinated?
Probably.
Yeah, so he could play this week, even though he's listed as out
Like,
right now.
oh, they don't know.
Oh, they don't know. Does it say that?
Yeah, it says if fan is vaccinated,
Oh,
so
okay. All right.
we don't know.
So if he's not vaccinated, I don't think he plays this week. If he is, he's got a shot. So he's got to keep that on the radar there. He might have to slot in somebody else. He doesn't have another tight end besides Logan Thomas, who's still out. He loses DK Metcalf this week to a bye. Um, Looking at JT's team, JT loses Lockett to a bye, Gibson to a bye.
It's okay.
Yeah, right. He's not losing a whole
You,
lot there. Yeah, he's got Lamb in. He's got to play Van Jefferson. I give this one to Scott. Still, I mean, I know he's got to do a couple things to his lineup. Still, he's got to sub some people in, but um, I just think I mean, Stafford against Allen. You got to give it to Josh Allen there. Um, yeah, what do you think here, Eileen Scott?
nah, I probably lean JT.
Yeah, you do. Okay. I mean, I could see it either way. JT's got some real upside guys, right? Like Zeke and Lamb and stuff, and Woods and Stafford, obviously. Um, Scott just has like the safer floor plays, right? Like Josh Allen's going to be fine, Adam Thielen's going to be fine, Elijah Mitchell's going to be
Yeah, but
fine, Nick Chubb's going to be
Stafford and
fine.
Allen should cancel. I think Woods again has a bounce back game, so hopefully he and Thielen would cancel. No Honey Rugg, so Hunter Renfro should really get a boost.
Yeah, in theory.
Um, CeeDee Lamb's on a feast. Yeah, I like JT's team a little bit more.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like I like a lot of the Scott's plays too. Though, like Chubb against Cincy, Hollywood against Minnesota. I think Hollywood will have a decent game. Um, so it could be. I think it'll be close here. Um, but
You mean Minnesota?
what did I say?
Cincy.
Oh, I
St.
said.
Brown against Cincy.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Yeah, Hollywood against Minnesota, and then Chubb against Cincy.
Yeah,
Um,
Maybe I misheard. I don't know. I heard Cincy. I thought you said for Brown.
All right. Well, so okay, so we're split on this one. We'll see what happens there. Let's talk about Melissa and you. Ooh, look at your projections this week. You guys are neck and neck, huh?
Yeah.
You guys' teams are pretty much at full strength, huh? Nobody really on bye here. Oh, you got Terry on bye. Okay. Well, that sucks to lose him. But you have subbed in. You got Cup and Brown. You're good
Mooney.
there. Okay, so you're playing Mooney basically. Um,
Yeah, unless I can snag some people off waivers who I'm not gonna say because
yeah.
I don't want to like
Hmm.
give it away. But yeah.
I wonder
I personally I lean
who.
myself.
Yeah, let's see. Let's look at these because we don't even know if Kyler's going to play. Um, Najee in Chicago. Yeah, I do too. I mean, I lead your team. Not to say it's. I do think these projections are going to be accurate. I think you both have good teams this week. Um, I just like some of your matchups better. Also, she's kind of rolling the dice a little bit with guys like Jeremy McNichols. Like we don't know what his role is going to be.
Yeah.
It's obviously going to be bigger than it was, and he's been involved in the passing game to some extent before. So if he continues to assume that role, then he could be fine. Um,
Well, I'm
be
also.
oh, go ahead.
We'll keep going.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna talk about how again, no Gridley. Pitts did absolutely nothing. He saw more coverage over the top. I
Yeah.
think he literally said that. So I think he could potentially be a bust. Again, same thing with
Yeah.
McNichols. Sutton, Bridgewater, again, isn't really good on the deep ball, and that's what he's known for. Dude's like 6'3", 6'4", like he's freaking huge. And Bridgewater has flimsy arms and can't throw 50 yards, so
Yes, that is true. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Kyle Pitts probably gets shut down by Marshawn Lattimore in this game, and that's pretty much it for their passing attack. So, yeah, I think I agree with you. I think tougher matchups there on her side, so definitely going to give it to you on this one. Um, I was going to ask about your waiver targets here. I have a feeling, I think I know who it is, and I think I need to.
you know who, but
I think I need to up my bid. I think I have a bid for the same guy.
I don't think you're gonna win.
Probably not. All right, I'll check that afterwards. Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'll give it
Well,
to you
yeah,
here.
we already talked about it. I mean, I can say it right since I bet most people are gonna go for him.
If we talked, I don't think we talked about the guy I'm thinking of. So clearly, you're talking about somebody different here. Adrian Peterson. Talking about him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Who did we talk about?
I guess just him. He was off my radar. Yeah. Honestly, like, I'm not excited for AP. Um, not just only reason because I think what's going to happen every week is you're going to have. We may have talked about this through text. He's going to get like 15 carries, which is great volume. No targets. He's going to get like 50 to 70 yards.
I think he'll get some targets.
You think so? Because that's not Adrian Peterson's like
Henry got
role.
a couple of catches a game.
Yeah, which was like rare for him. I think they're going to split the workload, and I think if they want to pass to the running back, they'll bring in McNichols. So that's what I think. Um, I don't. I think they're really going to just lean on Adrian Peterson, just running the same run style as Derrick Henry, just first and second down. I think they're gonna. I think they're gonna run less altogether than they otherwise would have. Right? You can't run it 30 times when you don't have Derrick Henry. Um, so I think AP is gonna have like a safe floor of like 6 to 7 points, and if he gets a score, then you've got 12, 13 points. So you're not like ecstatic about that, and maybe he'll come out and blow my mind. But the dude is 36 years old. Like he doesn't he's
Yeah.
he's not Adrian. Like this man was elite 10 years ago. Like it's hard to sustain that. So and he's been a free agent all season. So it took a season-ending injury to a player, to a star player on a team that's playoff bound, in order for somebody to sign him. Just to just to sort of like put in perspective, like, okay, this man was out here. If he was really good, why wasn't he rostered? Um, he's just getting old. I mean, I'm not saying like I'm not trying to discourage you from picking him up or anybody from bidding on him because obviously he's a starting running back for a playoff caliber team. But anybody expecting like even like half of what Derrick Henry does on a weekly basis is probably going to be disappointed. Um, but
I'd be okay
anyways,
with if he gave like 12 a week around
yeah,
there.
and if he gets a touchdown, he will. If he gets a
Yeah.
touchdown, he will
Well,
get you 12 or 13 or 14 points. That's what I think. Because he's just again, if he gets more than one target a week, I will be blown away. Because
I think he will.
that's not Adrian Peterson's thing. But we shall see. All right, let's talk about the next matchup here. Is there a last matchup? Yeah, it
No,
is.
we have two. Yeah, yeah. Jimmy and Chris
Jimmy and Chris.
got
Oh
the
man,
projection.
look, it's like you and Melissa were projected at
Whew.
like 142, 3 ish, and
This
these
is
guys were
point
predicted at
zero
90.
three. Oh my god.
Oh man, Jimmy, what happened to you, you son of a bitch? You're so good. Now you're so bad. This is actually he's returning to form here. This is Jimmy's true form is bad.
Oh my god, I remember Jimmy last year.
How bad he was.
I
Yeah.
remember that one week he literally just didn't put anybody in.
Yes. Yes, that's right. And he gave somebody like a win that put them into the playoffs, I think,
It
too.
was Holly, right?
Or Melissa. It was one of the two of
Was
them.
one of the two?
Yeah. Jimmy, you're such a bastard, I swear. Like, what? What an asshole, this guy. Let me tell you. So, here he is. He's returned to true Jimmy form. He's so proud of himself, too, because he had a league last year. First time he ever won. It was like a $200 buy-in league. He won a bunch of money. Of course, with Derrick Henry in his lineup, right? Of course, he
Hmm.
had Derrick Henry. Um, but this year, he's had Derrick Henry. With the exception of this past week, he's had a healthy Derrick Henry, um, and has managed to lose 3 in a row now. So it stopped helping him a little bit ago. I still think he's got the better team, right? Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson should bounce back. Mike Williams, maybe, I guess. Let's see who. Let's we got to fix his lineup here though because he's got Derrick Henry in, he's got Robert Tonyan in, he's got T.Y. Hilton in. So I'm gonna assume T.Y. Hilton doesn't play. Um, he can
Well,
move
Waller's
Waller.
not playing.
Waller's back, so good there. He's good at tight end. Um, let's see. He can move Melvin Gordon into his RB2 spot, so he's good there. I mean, Khalil Herbert against Pittsburgh, I don't like that. The volume's good, but you know that's a tough defense to run against. So temper expectations there. Um, well, that still leaves him what out? Who?
Flex.
Yeah, out of flex, right? I mean, no, he's got to move two people up, right?
Two.
He's going
Yeah.
to move Waller in. He's still got to move two people in. So if Julio plays, he can play Julio. And I guess you can play
I
Odell,
wouldn't.
who's Odell's basically droppable too. He's
No.
he's effectively Allen Robinson on the Browns.
Just, Jimmy needs to get some waivers.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to make the claim for AP. Um, so we'll see who. Well, I imagine there's going to
I ain't
be
going too expensive, so
3, 4 people bidding on AP. So we will see which of you gets it. Um, Chris's team, I don't think we need to talk too much about it, right? So he's got Tony,
no.
Mixon, and Mahomes, so that's basically the only people on his team worth talking about. Um, and so I still give it to Jimmy here. I think he's just got the better players all around.
Yeah,
He's got flexibility. He can put in Lamar if he wanted to, or he could keep
I
Hurts
would.
in. Yeah, I would too. I think I would probably. It's tough because Hurts is the number 2 quarterback on the season, and
Rest of the season, I'm taking Lamar.
yeah, I think I probably would too. Because you also never know when Jalen Hurts is going to get benched, right? Like they might just be so tired of him one game and just be like, okay, you're coming in, and who's their backup now? Is Joe Flacco gone?
Minshew, right?
That's right. Yeah, I forgot they traded for him. Yeah, they could.
Here's the
They could
thing,
pull him
though.
for Minshew. They could do that.
You look at Hurts. He's had some good, couple 30-point games. His floor is like 20 points, right? But Lamar, his floor is pretty much 20 points too. So it's like, but his biggest game was like 52 points. It won't load for some reason, but I
58.
think 58. Okay, I think Lamar has a. They both have good floors. I think Lamar's ceiling's way
Yeah,
higher.
I 100% agree with that.
I would.
Lamar, his lowest game of the season was 16 points against the Chargers.
Yeah.
And that's because our running game was phenomenal that week. Otherwise, his next lowest game was 20 points. So he's gotten you 20 more points in every week. I mean, that's basically what Jalen Hurts is doing. But like you said, Lamar can get you, you know, 58 points, 39 points. He can do that.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts will never do that. So,
Yep.
yeah, I'd probably make the switch there as well. Both have pretty good matchups, honestly. Um, the Eagles will be down in this game. So, you can argue that Jalen Hurts probably had his worst game because they didn't really need him to play garbage time catch up because the running backs were doing everything. So, you can expect him to return to garbage time form playing against the Chargers. Um, And so both are probably gonna be good plays, but yeah, I think you got to play Lamar here. So, okay. Anyways, I think that covers all of our matchups here.
Yep.
I don't think we have anything else really to add. I don't. Do you?
Nope.
Okay. Well, we've talked about the standings. We've talked about all that. So I guess last thing, to anybody out there, try to make some trades. Maybe if you're struggling, if you have weaknesses, I'm trying to make a trade with Henry right now. I gotta do a little research on that. Um, Trying to get maybe some wide receiver depth since Calvin Ridley decided to leave this planet, leave my roster. So we will see there. But it's always good. You can feel a lot of times people think you have to win a trade, like that it's somebody's always going to win. Now I think both sides can win out. I think like JT in our trade, he got some solid wide receiver depth in CD Lamb and Tyler Lockett, and I got a pretty big upgrade to Antonio Gibson. So now I've got Swift, Taylor, and Henderson at my running back position, which it's hard to be upset about that depth.
It's
So
gross.
yeah, it's like I feel more comfortable about the running back slot now. So now I just need to try to fix my wide receiver spot, and then I'll be even more comfortable. So always recommend trades for anybody who tries to make them. A lot of people are afraid to do that in this league. I know like Jimmy won't do it, Melissa won't do it. Um, I say afraid, but they just don't want to get screwed, and I understand that too. You do have to kind of know the value of these players to some degree too. Um, and I always say too, just because somebody sends you an offer, you can always counter it. Like just see. Like, a lot of times it's a starting point in the discussion. Is if somebody sends you a trade and they're trying to get one player, well that tells you they want that player. So then you can go look at their team and see, well, who do you want, and then you do a little back and forth, and hopefully you come to some reasonable thing where again, if you're just trying to win a trade every time, you're never going to make a trade happen. Um,
Yep.
which is unfortunately how some people play. But it is what it is. Anyways, okay, so we'll wrap it up. Good luck to everybody this week.
Good luck.
Good luck week 9. We're getting there. And peace.